Hello, my name is Landon Huber. I'm a graphic illustrator, a musician, and a comic book artist. I also do surrealist painting. And welcome to my second art process video. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you coming to watch. Today I'm going to be drawing a picture of a creature well known in European folklore for many years. Maybe even too many. Today I will be drawing an undead, ancient, creeping vampire. Legends and stories of vampires have existed for many years in nightmarish tales that fill our imaginations with wonder and mystery. And that makes them a very interesting subject to make into a piece of art. Today, you will see the different stages of my creative process. First, a thumbnail sketch, then penciling, inking, and the finishing done in watercolors. I will be creating this art on a sheet of 11 by 14 300 series bristle board. So thanks for being with me today, and I hope you enjoy watching this video of me drawing and creating a creeping vampire. So now, without any further ado, let's begin. Okay, so here's the very first thing I usually start with, just a thumbnail sketch, done pretty quickly. But you can already see here I have indicated everything I want to have on the final piece. I got a shadow of a bat, a vampire creeping above his coffin. There's going to be things dripping from him, blood most likely, webs, bats, and all that kind of good stuff. But this is all I really need to get started, so alright, let's get started. So the first things first, I gotta just block in my basic shapes. I need to make sure I'm gonna get the whole figure fit in the square of the paper that I have here to work with. So I'm just kind of drawing the outside around the edges first, just to kind of know where the placement of the figure is going to be on the paper. Make sure he's all going to fit in there. Then I start going in, working on the details. When you draw, you're pretty much drawing shadows. And so you kind of want to think that way. This vampire is going to be similar to my favorite vampire, which is more the Nosferatu-esque. So this isn't Nosferatu per se, but he's Nosferatu-esque. And as you can see here, I started with a cross on the coffin, but then I realized, well, vampires, they wouldn't probably want to sleep with a cross on their coffin, so that kind of goes contrary to the well-known vampire lore. So I do end up nixing that. And in the end of the video, I do talk a little bit more about what I mean here. So here you can see I'm shading in the top of him because I know I want my main source of lighting coming from below. If you want something to look creepy, many times you want to light it from below. And now I'm going in and shading the bat. I'm not going to have the shadow be totally black. I want it to kind of be done with cross-hatching and hatching. And the lines would curve a little bit going over the cloth of the material of his jacket. There's a rim light there on the edge of him, hatching as the shadows fade into the darker area across his shoulders. Sometimes I need a little cloth or piece of paper to prevent smudging, especially as the drawing gets more finished in the pencil stages. I got sweaty hands, so this starts to smear and smudge, and if I don't have a piece of paper or something under my hands, then things can tend to get a little messy. So as you can see, many times I don't just stick to one drawing tool. If I want to go in and do details on the hands or face or whatever, I'll just grab a nearby mechanical pencil, and rather than get up and go find my sharpener. I switch back and forth, but it doesn't really matter. Pencil's the main thing, is just making the image appear. And of course, if you want to do thicker lines, it's helpful to have a normal pencil rather than a mechanical one, for obvious reasons. Drawing the hairs and the shadows and the little wrinkles and details. Blood drips from the fingernails. Drawing lines that cross back and forth. Those are sometimes a little bit more interesting than just straight lines. Even a little indication of blood on the palm. And on the coffin itself, I know I want to have a combination of webs mostly and some blood. Of course, it's not real blood, it's graphite at this point. Later it becomes paint. And as you can see, the cross is now gone. I figured out that was a bad idea. And I also changed the handle of the coffin after I looked at some reference. And I didn't see coffins with a handle on the front like that, so I just put it on the side. It's always a good idea to look at reference if you need to, but the concept should be uniquely yours, and then you really only need to see so much as far as reference goes, and then the rest really does need to come from your own head. So now I'm going to the background and doing the rocks. I know I want like some kind of an old rock wall behind him. And so here's something kind of interesting. You might ask, why is there a reflection of the vampire? Isn't that another thing that goes contrary to popular vampire lore? And yes, the answer is that vampires don't have reflections, but I thought it would be interesting to leave that in there. Because one, if I drew him without a reflection, it would just look like a circle, and it'd be harder to tell that that was actually a mirror. And then two, it would imbue the art with a strange enigma. So I left it in. So before I begin inking, I need to clean out this gunky black water from the previous inking session. So here we go. Wash it out. Fill it. And now we're good to go. So here's my ink jar, and I just filled it with some clean water, which is a good idea to do anytime you start inking. So today I'm going to be inking with this, the number 2. This is also a good brush. Winsor & Newton Series 7. The good thing about the number 2 is usually it can hold ink for a little bit longer than the number 1. So as you can see, I've switched to a micron here for the face details. And with inking, the same as with penciling, there's no rules. I mean, you can switch between tools as you want. And I will go back to the brush and back to the micron and just kind of alternate however I want to. But it usually is the intricate details of the face I'm using a micron. Just inking away. I've heard some people talk about how they have some trouble getting control over the brush, but to me, it's what makes it so pleasant to use is you don't have to sit there and grind it into the paper. Just imagine the brush like a feather in your hand and just effortlessly lays the ink down. That's what's so nice about it. And so now by this time I'm getting closer and closer to the finished inked part of the illustration. And I really enjoy seeing the whole picture coming together, because as more and more of it gets inked, the more you start to see it evolve and come together, and it's kind of like magic. And also you can see here it is possible to get super fine lines and detail with just a brush. So it is possible. And if the ink is acting a little bit cloggy or clumpy, just water it down a little bit and it should flow much more smoothly. If we're doing these super fine background details, I will water the ink down. It's okay if it grays out a little bit. It's okay. It should be that way. Sorry guys, I'm breaking my rule. I've kicked it into high speed here to show you kind of what I'm doing as I'm almost finished, going around the entire illustration bit by bit, doing the final details. I usually like to show it in normal speed, but for time I'm breaking my rule here, so forgive me. And for erasing, I'm just using a regular old kneaded eraser. You can get them at any art store. After the erasing, it usually illuminates what parts of the drawing need that final little touch up. So I'm just doing that now. And so now that the picture is entirely finished with the inking process, I'm scanning it 600 dpi, which is what I always do before I go to the coloring. So today for my palette, it's just a little bit of the leftover. I kind of washed off all the muddy colors that were on the plate from the last painting, and some of them I just left on there because I can reuse it. You can rehydrate watercolors, which is nice. And then just added a little bit of red and yellow, and that's all I need to get started right there. You got red, yellow, blue, and a black. You got a green and a little bit of white at top, but white I won't be using until the end, so I can just add more if I need it. Alright, let's get going. And finally, it is finished. It looks kind of scary. But he is a blood-sucking vampire, so that seems about right. Put him in the finished pile. Thank you very much for joining me today. And I hope that you enjoyed watching and observing my creative process. I know that once again, I really enjoyed showing it to you. You know, as an artist, our main objective is to, at the end, have a great piece of artwork. That's the goal anyways, and that's what we strive for. And many times it's necessary to change a little bit from our original plan in order to let the picture grow and transform as we act and react to what we're putting down. We need to try and let the picture dictate to us what it wants to be, rather than trying to force it too much into some preconceived notion we might have. And we really have to try and be open to that change in order to get the most out of our creation. For more information about me, for commissions, or for purchasing original art, please see the description below. Well, if you liked the video, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on that notifications bell so you won't miss any future videos. And with that, always remember, be creative. Bye for now.